What's up guys, welcome back to TK Talks Pokemon. I'm sure by now you've all heard the incredibly exciting news that Black Bolt and White Flare are on their way. You may even have been lucky enough to get in on the pre-order and grab yourself some goodies. Luckier than I was, certainly. With the new set on its way, centered around the Unova region and its 156 Pokemon that make up Generation 5, I wanted to create a video to give fans of Generation 5 an idea of where the land lies in terms of what cards have already been produced for these Pokemon. With that in mind, this video is going to be split into 4 separate sections. In section 1, we're going to be going over the 10 sets of the Black and White era and what cards they contain. In section 2, we'll be going over which Gen 5 Pokemon have received special card artwork since the Black and White era. By process of elimination, the Pokemon that remain will then take us into section 3, where we'll cover which Gen 5 Pokemon haven't received special artworks either ever or since the Black and White era. In section 4, my hope is to wrap up everything nicely in a bow and give you guys, my fellow fans of Generation 5, some advice and guidance when it comes to picking up cards for your favourite Pokemon. Without further ado, let's get started with section 1 covering the Black and White era sets, which were as follows. The self-titled Black and White set, followed by Emerging Powers, Noble Victories, Next Destinies, Dark Explorers, the 2 Dragon sets, Dragons Exalted and Dragon Volt, a personal favourite of mine, Boundaries Crossed, the 3 Plasma sets known as Plasma Storm, Plasma Freeze and Plasma Blast, and finally another awesome set, Legendary Treasures. Let's start where it makes sense to start, with the OG set, Black and White. The first cards I want to talk about in this set that really stand out are these incredible full arts that we get for Reshiram and Zekrom that I think paved the way for some of the cards we've had in the eras since. What's really special about these cards is that they aren't EXs, they aren't GXs, they aren't Vs or V-Stars or V-Maxs. They are regular basic Pokemon in a full art style, which is very unique. And if these cards look familiar to you, it's for a reason. If you happen to have seen the leaks from Black Bolt and White Flare for the new style of full art for Reshiram and Zekrom, you will quickly realise that they get a lot of inspiration from these cards. Now, if you look on TCG Player, these cards have absolutely skyrocketed in price of late, which I imagine will happen with all of the cool cards we've had for Gen 5 so far, as the hype surrounding the Pokemon of the Unova region in general starts to rise. Just a brief aside, you will probably notice I'm not going to go through every single card in each set. I'm not going to cover things like commons or regular holos. I'm only going to be talking about the special artworks in the Black and White sets. Anyway, back to the sets themselves. And now we've got set number 2, Emerging Powers. Here we get 2 more amazing, groundbreaking, non-EX full arts in Tornadus and Thundurus. These are absolutely flying up in price too, and you'll also recognise them if you've been keeping an eye on Black Bolt and White Flare, because they are very similar to the Pokemon Center promos that you will receive if you manage to get hold of an ETB. Seeing the similarities between the Reshiram, the Zekrom, the Thundurus and the Tornadus, you can see that a massive amount of inspiration has been drawn from these early cards in the Black and White sets. Personally, I'm cool with this. I think it's a lovely, appreciative, nostalgic nod to the older sets. However, I'm hoping that we get a lot of creativity and newer designs when it comes to the 156 illustration rares that we've been promised for the new sets. The third English set for the Black and White era was Noble Victories. This introduced cards that I would describe as full arts or illustration rares with even more going on in the background. In this set we get what I think are beautiful cards for the Resolute trio, Cobalion, Virizion and Terrakion. I love how unique all 3 cards are. We can also see in this set the inspiration for the new Victini art rare that we've had leaked, with that vivid red background. I think it's at this point, if we didn't already, that we begin to realise how lucky we are with modern sets and how stacked they are in terms of various artwork, EXs, special art rares, illustration rares. Looking at these early sets, there's only probably between 2 and 5 chase cards. Next Destinies was the next set to come along, and this ushered in the EX era. In this set, we get fantastic EX cards for the 3 main legendaries of Pokemon Black and White, Zekrom, Reshiram and Kyurem. All are fairly basic in design but have wonderful border art depicting their various elemental powers. For Zekrom there is lightning around the edge of the card, for Kyurem ice, and for Reshiram a blazing fire. We also get alternate artworks for the trio in this set, and this is the point in the black-white era where the sets start to become a little bit more stacked, and there are a larger variety of interesting cards within each set. As if this wasn't enough, Next Destinies also introduced shiny cards for some of the Generation 5 Pokemon. I absolutely adore these cards. In this set we get some amazing shiny cards for Pokemon such as Emboar, Chandelure, Hydreigon and Zoroark. These sell for absolute bank already, and I think they will only continue to increase in price with all of the excitement around Gen 5 at the moment. If any of you watching have these cards, you are incredibly lucky. Sticking to the subtle hints to the EXs within the set in the title, we move from Next Destinies to Dark Explorers. I personally think this is quite a weak set. Yes, we get an EX for Tornadus and a shiny for Archeops, but we get very little else. The Pokemon Company sticks to the EX in the title theme here with Dragons Exalted, the 6th set in the black and white era. To me, this is another disappointing set. We get 2 Terrakion EXs, but none with artwork as impressive as the Terrakion that was introduced during Noble Victories. For this reason, I wouldn't recommend that many of you go out and buy sealed product for the black-white era sets. I haven't checked the prices, but I imagine they are quite expensive for what you are able to get within. Instead, find the singles that you like and go out and get those at a reasonable price. The redeeming quality for Dragons Exalted is that we get more shinies for some Pokemon that I really like. We get 1 for Serperior, 1 for Reuniclus, and my favourite, 1 for Crocodile. The 7th set is Dragon Volt, but this has absolutely nothing worth talking about. So we're going to move on to set 8, Boundaries Crossed. This is the first set of the second half of the black-white era, and I feel this is the time where the Pokemon Company really started to get cooking again. Here we get the introduction of Keldeo with 1 regular looking EX and 1 EX with a really fantastic artwork. This is one of my favourite cards for one of my favourite Pokemon, and if anyone watching has it at home and they don't want it, please feel free to donate. Again, I think it's worth noting how stacked the modern sets are compared to these older sets. The fact that we've had to get 8 sets in just to get another EX for a Pokemon. In this set we also finally get the Landorus EX in both of its forms, and we get EXs for the black and white forms of Kyurem, including some awesome full art style cards. Shiny wise, we get 2 absolute bangers in the form of Terrakion and Golurk. Sets 9, 10 and 11 of the black and white era were the Plasma sets, starting with Plasma Storm. As you can imagine, there are plenty of Plasma cards for the Gen 5 Pokemon here, which I think have a really cool, unique look to them and a collectability factor. I'm highly doubtful that we'll get Plasma cards in Black Bolt and White Flare, but it would be really great if we did. This set has a much higher rate of EXs than the earlier sets, with some great EXs for the black and white Kyurem, an okay EX for the Victini, and some really nice Cobalion EXs. There is also a sick Colress full art trainer card here. Plasma set number 2, or black and white era set number 10, is Plasma Freeze. Again, we get a bunch of Plasma cards for various different Gen 5 Pokemon, including Plasma style EXs for Thundurus and Tornadus. We also get more trainer full arts for some iconic characters such as Ghetsis and Professor Juniper. Alongside this, we get shinies for Sigilyph and Garbodor. The final Plasma set, set number 11, the penultimate set for the black and white era, is Plasma Blast. Here we get some Plasma cards for very cool Pokemon, including this incredible Plasma full art for Genesect, which is one of my favourite Gen 5 Pokemon. This is Genesect's first appearance in the black-white era, and we get an EX card as well. There's also a fairly basic Virizion EX card in this set, and we get a Kyurem EX with what I think is a really unique, visually appealing rainbow-style border card. There is also a wicked full art card for Iris, which I think will skyrocket too. We also get my favourite shiny of any of the black and white sets, the pink Virizion. Those of you who are super sharp will realise that we got shiny cards for Virizion and Terrakion, but never Cobalion. It would be incredible if Cobalion finally got its shiny in Black Bolt and White Flare. Here's hoping. Finally, we get to the final set of the Black-White era, the only set that I would recommend picking up sealed product for, because in comparison to the others, it is absolutely stacked. There's a subset of legendary treasures known as the Radiant Collection with some of my favourite cards of all time. We get amazing full art style illustration rare cards for Reshiram, Emolga and Meloetta. Slightly disappointingly, some of the EXs in this set are reprints, which I personally think is a bit lazy. But it also means that if you're after any of these cards, you can just pick whichever set has the cheaper version. We also finally get some new EXs for Chandelure and Excadrill. We also get gold cards for the legendary duo Reshiram and Zekrom, and these are an interesting talking point for me because I think that the leaked full art cards that we've got for Zekrom and Reshiram, the white card and the black card, are a mixture in terms of inspiration of the full arts from the initial set, the black and white set, and the gold cards in this legendary treasures set. And just like that, we reach the end of the Black-White era. I don't know about you guys, but when I went through this, I was shocked by how few special cards we have of Gen 5. Let's hop into Section 2 now and see which Gen 5 Pokemon have been shown love post-Black-White era. And to be specific, we're going to run through which of the 156 Pokemon have received X's, GX's, V's, VMAX's, V-Stars, illustration rares, art rares, full arts, special art rares, anything you can think of, we will have it here. And if I've missed anything, all I can do is apologise and urge you to put whatever set the card is in the comments down below. When planning this section of the video, initially I wasn't sure whether to go in Pokédex order, to go with which Pokemon have received the most cards, to put the legendaries first, and so on and so forth. In the end, I decided to stick with Pokédex order. I think it makes it easier for you guys if you're coming back to the video to look at certain Pokemon that you like, and my notes were written in Dex order and I didn't want my brain to turn to mush. Before we get into it, a couple of things. Firstly, every single card I talk about, I will flash up on the screen. If you want to look them up and see what their prices are, simply type in the name of the Pokemon and there will be a number on the card and what set they're from. If you type all of that in on eBay or TCG Player, you'll get a good idea of how much you're going to be looking at spending or how much you can sell it for if you have it already. The second thing is that if you're enjoying this video and finding it informative, now would be a fantastic time to hit that subscribe button and drop a like. In order to get the information that I'm about to run through for you, I had to go on Serebii.net and run through every single card ever produced for all 156 Unova region, which was incredibly fun and worth it to produce this content for you, but very taxing. So a like and a subscribe would mean the absolute world to me and help me continue to make these videos for you. Anyway, enough grovelling. Thank you so much guys. Let's get into Section 2, starting with Pokemon number 000, Victini. Victini has been showed a lot of love post-Black-White era. It has appeared in V's, VMAX's and EX's, and as we know, in Black Bolt and White Flare is going to get that crazy texturized red full art card. Unova Dex entry number 1, one of the starter Pokemon, Snivy, has also received a lot of love. Major love, in fact, compared to the two other starters, Tepig and Oshawott. Snivy has featured in a number of tag team cards with the iconic Pokemon Venusaur, including a rainbow rare card and a gorgeous claymation style card. Serperior has also featured heavily with V's and V-Stars, including a rainbow and a gold card. Emboar, on the other hand, only got one fairly mediocre post-Black-White era EX card. And Samurott didn't even get that, having been majorly overshadowed of late by its Hisuian form. Moving on to Stoutland, that received a range of V cards across 3 separate sets of Pokemon cards. Liepard also received a couple of Vs, both in the Chilling Reign set. Simisear very much got preferential treatment over Simisage and Simipour. It has featured in Vs and V-Star cards, including the legendary Crown Zenith V-Star, one of my favourite cards of the recent eras. Blitzel got a really cute illustration rare in the recent Scarlet Violet set Paradox Rift. As Section 2 wears on, you will quickly begin to realise that Paradox Rift is probably the best modern set to get a hold of Gen 5 Pokemon cards. The Scarlet Violet era is also unique in that they started to produce illustration rares for first and second evolution Pokemon, and many of those Pokemon that received illustration rares were from Generation 5. Excadrill, a Gen 5 favourite for many people, has received 2 rares since the Black-White era, including an illustration rare from the Temporal Forces set, which is also good for Gen 5 Pokemon, and a secret rare in the Cosmic Eclipse set, featuring one of my favourite gym leaders from the Black and White games, Clay. Audino, who I have very fond memories of from the Black and White games because it gave so much EXP when you beat it in a battle, has received 2 really cool, really well priced cards, including a beautiful Rainbow Border EX and a Mega card. The Mega card, as of making this video, is only £8 on eBay. So Mega Audino fans, rush to eBay as soon as you can and pick that up before the prices start to rise. Timber, a first evolution Pokemon like Blitzel, received the illustration rare treatment from the Scarlet Violet era. This one popped up in the Twilight Masquerade set. Conkeldurr got 3 Vs in the Pokemon Go set, which is always in stock in the UK, including a really cool stadium-themed artwork which has a Pokemon Colosseum theme to it. Seismitoad got 2 EXs in the Furious Fist set, but no recent love. Seismitoad's design gets a lot of hate, but for me it reminds me of the iconic Ben 10 alien Cannonbolt, and for that reason I love it. Whimsicott got absolutely rinsed by the Pokemon Company with GXs, Vs and V-Stars across a range of sets, including a Rainbow Rare in the Brilliant Stars Sword and Shield era Pokemon set. However, in my personal opinion, none of the cards produced have particularly nice artwork. So big fans of Whimsicott, maybe it's best if you stay tuned, see what's produced in the Black Bolt and White Flare sets when it comes to the illustration rare for Whimsicott, and see if that's something that you'd like to pick up. Sandile received a fairly basic illustration rare in the Scarlet and Violet base set. And then Crocodile, its final evolution, a Gen 5 banger, has only received 1 EX since the Black and White era. The good news, it's sick and only £5 on eBay as of making this video. Any Maractus fans out there, there's a really nice illustration rare released recently in the Journey Together set that you can pick up. Crustle has received 2 illustration rares, one in the recent Destined Rivals set and a really lovely card in Paradox Rift. Sigilyph got 3 EXs, including a Rainbow card, but no recent love. Cofagrigus, on the other hand, has only had EXs produced for it recently, with 2 in the Paradox Rift set. Caracosta, like the Crocodile, has had 1 Black Star promo EX, but only 5 cards produced for it ever. So Caracosta fans, you must be really excited for what's to come. Garbodor proved to be super popular. It got the Whimsicott treatment, getting 2 Vs and 2 VMAXs, including a Rainbow Rare card, plus another Paradox Rift illustration rare. See what I said earlier in the video, Paradox Rift is stacked when it comes to Gen 5 Pokemon. Zorua got a lovely little post-Black-White era shiny card in the Hidden Fates set, and recently received an absolutely beautiful, underrated in my opinion, illustration rare in the Shrouded Fables set. Zoroark, understandably so, as one of the coolest Pokemon ever designed, has been plastered all over the place by the Pokemon Company. And this is excellent for big Zoroark fans like me who don't want to break the bank on Pokemon cards. We've got a gold break card. We've got tag teams with another iconic Pokemon, Greninja. We've got EXs, GXs, gold cards, special art rares, and my favourite, a card I keep losing bidding wars for on eBay that I discovered to my delight while researching for this video. What I refer to as the Sonic the Werehog card, the shiny Black Star Zoroark promo. If any of you watching have recently picked this up on eBay, you are probably the person who keeps beating me in bidding wars, and I am very salty about it. Moving on, Minccino and Cinccino got the matchy-matchy treatment with shiny cards in Hidden Fates and illustration rares in the Temporal Forces set. Gothorita benefited from the Scarlet Violet era second Evo illustration era trend. God, that is a mouthful. Receiving a fairly basic illustration rare in the Paldea Evolve set. Reuniclus also featured in Temporal Forces with a really cute illustration rare. However, this is another iconic Gen 5 Pokemon that has received hardly any cards. No GXs, no EXs, no Vs, no V-Stars, no VMAXs. It's kind of crazy. And in researching this video, I began to understand, and I imagine you guys watching are beginning to understand, why the hype around Black Bolt and White Flare is so great. It's because there's been such scarcity when it comes to such popular Pokemon designs. For a lot of people that grew up in the mid to late 2000s, Black and White is their Gen 1. So there is absolutely massive anticipation for this set, particularly based on the announcement that we're going to get illustration rares for every single Unova region Pokemon. It's really exciting. Ducklett and Swanna, like Minccino and Cinccino, received the matchy-matchy shiny treatment, this time in the Shining Fates set. Vanillish, like Gothorita, received an illustration rare, this time in the Paradox Rift set. Deerling and Sawbuck were the recipients of two of my favourite cards of the Scarlet Violet era, the matching set of illustration rares in Temporal Forces. I'm beginning to wonder whether all of the inclusion of Gen 5 in Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces was the Pokemon Company getting us primed with Gen 5 Pokemon swirling around in our subconscious, ready to pick up Black Bolt and White Flare when they come out. Amoonguss has received only one very sad looking card since the Black-White era, which I think is really sad for a Pokemon design that's so beloved and a Pokemon that has been so influential in the competitive Pokemon scene. Joltik fans have been absolutely blessed with two illustration rares, one in Paradox Rift and one in Stellar Crown. Galvantula got some recent love also in the Stellar Crown set with 3 EX cards including these terastallized rainbow rare cards. Ferrothorn also got the Paradox Rift illustration rare treatment and I really like this card. Upon reflection, looking at the sets we've received for Scarlet Violet so far, I actually think Paradox Rift might be the best set. What's your guys' opinion on that? Drop it in the comments below. Beheeyem got a minor nod with one of those really cool gold break cards. Then we've got the Chandelure, and with Chandelure and Cofagrigus, I think Gen 5 got the possessed object Pokemon just right. I think Spiritomb in Gen 4 was also like that. The more recent cards like Sinistea and Revavroom, I just don't think are it at all. Chandelure has received a wicked EX post-BW era, some Vs and V-Stars, including a rainbow, and a super slept-on trainer gallery card featuring the Met Gala fit wearing Chantal. As of time of recording for this video, yesterday on PokeBeach, they released the artwork for the illustration rare for the Chandelure in the new sets. And I honestly think this old trainer gallery card is much nicer. So run to eBay and go cop that if you're a Chandelure fan. Just to note, this card is also one of the only Gen 5 trainer galleries. You've also got them for Excadrill, Zekrom and Druddigon, and they're all really nice cards. Fraxia up next, and this received one of my favourite illustration rares of the Scarlet Violet era. This was in Shrouded Fable, and some sellers are selling this for only £10 on eBay. Stunfisk received a fairly basic illustration rare in Surging Sparks. Reminds me a little bit of the illustration rare that we got for Sandile. It's okay. Paradox Rift continues to pay tribute to Gen 5 with another banging card, the Mienshao illustration rare. You can cop this one for only a £5. As mentioned, Druddigon got a very nice, cozy, cute feeling trainer gallery card in the Silver Tempest set. Gola got blessed with some Vs, 3 of them in the Evolving Skies set, including a really gorgeous illustration rare V artwork. These are quite expensive, and my recommendation would be do not rip packs for it because, as you guys probably know, Evolving Skies packs cost an absolute fortune. Pawniard and Bisharp have only appeared in style once, with matching shiny cards in the Shining Fates set. Braviary, along with Stunfisk, got its illustration rare in the Surging Sparks set. It's got a beautiful hand-painted look to it, really vivid colours, and only goes for a £5 on eBay at the moment. Mandibuzz didn't get the illustration rare treatment, but it does have a very cool looking gold break card that you can purchase. Durant, on the other hand, got a really nice spotlight in the Surging Sparks set, with 3 EXs including a really nice illustration rare. There's been an absolute flood recently of Durant Master Setters, so I'm sure if you guys are out there watching the video, you're really excited to see what new illustration rare you get with the coming Black Bolt White Flare sets. Hydreigon received 2 EXs in the Roaring Skies set. One has quite cool artwork, but in my opinion is overpriced at around £20. Especially when you take into consideration the fact that we're about to get its first illustration rare, which will likely be a cooler design. The gold break card it has from Steam Siege is much cooler and only goes for about a £5. It also got 3 EXs in the Surging Sparks set, including those rainbow terrestrialized rares. However, the special illustration rare it has in this set goes for £50, which I think is an absolute rip-off. Mind you, I'm not a big fan of the whole rainbow thing in general. I think there are much nicer artworks throughout the Scarlet Violet era and further in the past. But that's the beauty of this hobby. Everybody's into different Pokemon and different card artworks. Surging Sparks continues to be another great set alongside Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces for Gen 5 Pokemon, with this beautiful illustration rare for Larvesta. Volcarona has some quite basic but well composed and well priced GX cards, including a rainbow. And I just want to take a moment to appreciate the GX era and all of the incredible cards that we got during that time. Volcarona also got 2 Vs in the Evolving Skies set, although again I think these are quite basic and quite hard to get hold of because Evolving Skies is so coveted and so expensive. Cobalion received 3 GXs in the Team Up set, including a rainbow rare. The first of them I think is sick and only goes for about £7 on eBay. I've always loved Cobalion's design. I think it looks undeniably Arceus-like, particularly in the face. It's got a really regal, imperious quality to its posture and design. It's had no recent love, which to me is absolutely mad. I love this trio and I love Keldeo. Sacred Sword was such a strong move in the games. I just remember absolutely melting dark types with it. Virizion also received 3 EXs, including a rainbow, this time in the Lost Thunder set, but similar to Cobalion, has dropped out of favour recently, although not as badly as Terrakion. However, there is quite a clear and obvious reason for this. It's because all 3 of them received future Paradox Pokemon, and these have featured much more heavily more recently. Putting the original forms in with the Paradox forms probably would have led to a level of redundancy and would have pushed out the addition of other Pokemon, which probably would have annoyed the fans. Tornadus had 3 Vs and 2 V-Stars in the Chilling Reign set, including a Rainbow V-Star and an Illustration Rare V, which I think will absolutely go to the moon. Thundurus has also done well post-Black-White era, with 2 Roaring Skies EXs, a sick computer-generated looking GX card you can get a hold of for £6. I personally think is better than the promo card that we've got coming for Black Bolt and White Flare. And now we get on to Reshiram, which unsurprisingly has featured very heavily in various sets since the Black-White era. Let's get into it. There are some amazing cards here. As to be expected for one of the 2 box cover legendaries, Reshiram has popped up all over the place. Let's run through the various cards. First things first, we've got an absolutely breathtaking Radiant Collection XY promo card, with the price tag to match. Fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds like myself will absolutely love this card. It reminds me of Black Rose Dragon. I love those swirling petals in the background. Beautiful, beautiful card. If you managed to get a hold of this back when it came out, or for a good price, I'm really jealous of you. In the Dragon Majesty set, Reshiram got 3 EXs, including a rainbow card and a red background card that goes for about £55 on eBay. It also received 2 mad tag team promos and 3 tag team cards with another iconic Pokemon, Charizard. Pokemon wasn't done with Reshiram here in terms of the tag team era. It also got 3 amazing cards with Zekrom, including a rainbow rare. Reshiram received another promo, this time in the GX format, and a Shiny Vault card, another shiny card that I recently lost an eBay bidding war for that I think is absolutely beautiful. It received 2 OK V cards in Silver Tempest, and of course received a couple of EXs recently in the Journey Together set, including the special art rare, which I managed to pull in Japanese. At time of pulling, I thought this artwork was really nice. I still do think that it's really nice, but I think if you compare it to some of Reshiram's older cards, you will realise that those are something else entirely and are truly special, something worth getting your hands on if you've got money to burn. Reshiram also received a reprint of older cards in the Celebrations box set. As mentioned earlier, section 4, the final section of this video, will cover my advice and guidance when it comes to picking up cards from the Gen 5 era. What I will quickly say here is though, when it comes to Reshiram and Zekrom, if you can't get a hold of Black Bolt and White Flare, which I imagine lots of us won't be able to due to the high demand, don't fret. There are so many cards for these two Pokemon that have come out in the past that are absolutely amazing. Then up next, we've got Reshiram's counterpart, Zekrom. And although this hasn't had quite as many cards printed for it as Reshiram, it has still proven to be super popular even after the Black and White era. Like Reshiram, Zekrom also received a really cool XY promo card with a beautiful artwork featuring 2 other very cool legendary Pokemon, Latias and Palkia. This one goes for about £40 at the moment, which I think is a pretty good price. As mentioned earlier, it also had 3 tag team cards with Reshiram. It also had 2 excellent tag team promo cards with another iconic Pokemon, perhaps the most iconic of all, Pikachu, and then 3 regular tag teams, including a rainbow card. Similar to Reshiram, in recent eras of Pokemon, the cards haven't been quite up to the same standard. There have, however, been quite a few cards produced. There were 2 Sun and Moon promos, including a gold card, and 1 lovely Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery card, again featuring M. And I'm going to reiterate one more time, when it comes to Zekrom and Reshiram, of course, go after the new sets, or the new singles produced in those sets if you'd like, but don't forget that there are loads of cards out there that have already been produced, which are excellent, and in my opinion, very much worth adding to your personal collections. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. And then we have one of the other big legendary Pokemon from the Black-White era, Kyurem. Starting off in the Battle Strength deck, it received a very unique card that I really like a lot, with a rainbow border. It also received 2 regular EX cards in the Ancient Origins set. The XY promos continued to deliver with tons of Gen 5 heat, with 2 amazing full art cards for Kyurem. The Dragon Majesty set featured 2 white Kyurem EXs, including a really nice rainbow card. And in Lost Origin, Kyurem got the V and the V-Star treatment with 2 of each, including a rainbow on those as well. Again, I think the older cards are much better than the more recent cards with Kyurem, just like with Reshiram and Zekrom. Moving on to Keldeo, which received a bit of love post-Black-White era, but not as much as I would have liked it to. The Unified Minds set delivered 3 EXs for Keldeo, including a rainbow card. We also got a Keldeo V, and the best among the bunch for me was the Brother Bear Aurora Borealis illustration rare that we got in what I think is probably the greatest set of Pokemon cards ever released, Crown Zenith. Meloetta didn't get a huge amount of love, although it did get its own Pokemon Go quest, so there's that. It does have a really awesome Radiant Collection EX card, a beautiful XY Black Star promo card, and quite a nice regular EX card. And now we move on to the last entry into the Unova Region Pokedex, one of my favourite Gen 5 Pokemon, Genesect. Starting things off, Genesect received 2 decent looking EXs in the Fates Collide expansion, 1 shiny card in the Shining Legends set, 3 okay looking GXs in the Lost Thunder set, including a rainbow card, and 3 Vs in Fusion Strike, including what I think is probably most people's favourite Genesect card, the incredible breakdancing Genesect. However, partly due to recency bias, and just the fact that I think it's more well known, this card tends to overshadow what I think is the best Genesect card of all time, which is another of the XY Black Star promo cards. I think this card is absolutely incredible, and as of recording this video, you can pick it up on eBay for an absolute bargain. I managed to get mine for £6. I ordered it yesterday while I was doing the research. Couldn't help myself, wanted to get my hands on it in case this video blew up and it rose in popularity and rose in price alongside that. If anyone picks it up off the back of this video or has it in their collection anyway, drop a comment down below so I can see. And I can't believe it, guys, we've made it through section 2. In sections 1 and 2, we've covered every single rare artwork produced for every single Pokemon in Generation 5. Now in section 3, we're going to quickly run through which Gen 5 Pokemon haven't received any love since the Black-White era. And then we'll discuss some strategies for collecting and picking up cards with the upcoming release of the Black Bolt and White Flare sets in mind. Just before I get into it, I want to prime you guys that this is the part of the video that you really want to pay attention to if you aren't sure whether your favourite Gen 5 Pokemon have any cool cards that have already been released. If you hear your favourite Gen 5 Pokemon in this list, then you want to be looking out for Black Bolt and White Flare to see what illustration rare your favourite Pokemon gets. Now, there's quite a few to read here, so if you wonder why I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I've got them written down. Usually I have some notes with me, but I try and look in the camera as if I'm talking to you guys. But with this, I just think it would be better if I got my head down and got listing. I'll try and be clear on my speech so you know which Pokemon I'm talking about. And so, we begin with Servine, Tepig, Pignite, Oshawott, Duot, Samurott, Patrat, Watchog, Lillipup, Herdia, Purloin, Pansage, Simisage, Pansear, Pampor, Simipour, Munna, Mushana, Pidove, Tranquil, Unpheasant, Zebstrika, Roggenrola, Boldore, Gigalith, Woobat, Swoobat, Drillbur, Gurda, Timpole, Palpitoad, Throw, Sorg, Swaddle, Swadloon, Leavanny, Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede, Cottony, Petalil, Lilligant, Krokorok, Darumaka, Darmanitan, Dwebble, Scraggy, Scrafty, Yamask, Turtuga, Archon, Archeops, Trubbish, Gothita, Gothitelle, Solosis, Duosion, Vanillite, Vanillux, Carablast, Escavalier, Fungus, Frillish, Jellicent, Alomala, Ferroseed, Clink, Clang, Klinklang, Tynamo, Electric, Electros, Elgium, Litwick, Lampant, Axew, Haxorus, Cubchew, Beartick, Cryogonal, Shelmet, Excelgor, Mienfoo, Golett, Bouffalont, Rufflet, Vullaby, Heatmore, Dino, and Zweilous. Woo! Got through that in one take. That is 90 of the 156 Pokemon. What that means is that between 57 and 58% of the Generation 5 Unova region Pokemon will be receiving their first rare card ever in the Black Bolt and White Flare sets. Now, big apologies if I've missed out any cards. I tried to do my due diligence, but there were a lot of cards to get through. And if anyone finds any, it's just a bonus, another one that we can all try and add to our personal collections. And now we enter into the final section of this video, where I give you some tentative recommendations about how you might go about collecting cards from Generation 5. And now we've got an idea of where the land lies, we can cast our eyes forward to the upcoming sets. The first thing I'll say is that with the announcement that we are getting 156 unique illustration rares, coupled with the fact that we are all now aware of that most of the Gen 5 Pokemon have never received an alternate artwork card. If you're a Gen 5 lover and you have a bit of cash put to the side, I think it's a no-brainer to try and get at least some Black Bolt and White Flare. What I will say briefly, before I say anything further, is I am not going to be talking about this from an investment perspective, from the perspective of buying sealed product or singles and trying to make money out of them. The perspective I'm coming at this from is how I and you and all of us can have the best chance of picking up cards for our favourite Generation 5 Pokemon and adding them to our personal collections. And there is nuance to this, because although I just gave the recommendation of trying to pick up something from the new expansion, I don't think you necessarily need to be picking up sealed product in general. The likelihood is it will be very hard to get hold of, and some people will be reselling it for rather egregious prices. But I don't think all of the singles will be hard to get hold of or extremely expensive. Picking up packs in a store and ripping them, or waiting for an ETB to come in the post, is a unique type of fun. There's that excitement of not knowing what cards reside in the thing that you're holding in your hands. It's a unique and special type of fun, but I don't think it's necessary. If your Generation 5 favourite was mentioned in section 3 of this video, then you've already proven that you can be extremely patient, and you can probably wait a little bit longer. So don't be disheartened if you can't get a hold of the new sets when they first drop, and don't waste your money paying extreme prices to resellers. Simply hold off, wait for the singles to become available at shows or on eBay or in your local card store, wait for the prices to come down to a reasonable amount, and then pick up the cards that you like the most. Again, adding a dose of nuance, there's a slightly different conversation to be had if your favourite Gen 5 Pokemon was mentioned in Section 2. For you guys, I would say it might not be necessary to buy any of the new sealed product or the new cards at all. There are some amazing existing cards, and it might be pertinent for you to wait for the release of all of the illustration rares to see if the new cards hold up to the old cards for your favourite Pokemon. I guess what I'm getting at is that the beauty of this hobby, as I mentioned earlier, is that we all have favourite Pokemon and favourite artworks in cards for those Pokemon. And although we hear so much about scalping, and much of the content we absorb is watching massive YouTubers with huge budgets rip pack after pack after pack, in what can sometimes feel like a bit of a soulless endeavour, the hobby can be fun and enjoyable and affordable, and I hope this video has shown you that there can be so much fun in finding niche cards that not many people know about, doing your research, finding them for a good price, negotiating with a seller, getting a hold of it, and then cherishing that card. I can guarantee to you that there are cards out there that were on none of our radars that you can pick up for £5. I can guarantee this because I did this myself with the Genesect that I mentioned earlier. Although it took a lot of grunt work, it was an absolute pleasure making this video for you, sharing these amazing cards, and I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something. And when it comes to the cards in this video that you want to get a hold of, happy hunting. I hope you get good prices. Off the back of this video, I'm going to be starting a series where each episode I take a random Pokemon out of every Pokemon that there's ever been and show you the best cards ever produced for it to help everybody build collections of cards that they absolutely love. I want to keep this hobby fresh and fun and affordable and show a different side of collecting. Before I let you guys go back to your lives in the real world, as of uploading this video, I've got 9 subscribers, and they are all either my girlfriend, family members, or close friends. My mission is to help as many people as possible find cards that they can cherish and that bring them genuine joy, as Pokemon has brought so much joy into my life since I was a young boy. So, if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button and help support my channel. See you guys in the next one where I hit that randomizer for the first time. I'm so excited to see you there. In the meantime, good luck getting those Gen 5 bangers and best of luck getting a hold of Black Bolt and White Flare. Let me know your favourite Gen 5 Pokemon in the comments below and I'll reply back to you with mine. Once we know more about the new sets, I'll do a deep dive for you guys and we can run through what cards we're all hopefully going to be seeing very soon. Thanks so much for watching the video guys and supporting the channel. Peace.